Let go of what no longer serves you and trust yourself on today's Oblyron Divination. Greetings everyone, I am Oblyron, Lord of the Underworld and consort to the most lovely Hecate. Thank you for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry Reading. It is a divination technique which was bestowed upon me by the goddess upon our sacred marriage. It involves the tarot, the 5 elements, and astrology. Now this is a timeless collective reading, so take what resonates and discard what doesn't. And as always, remember to use tarot to confirm what you already intuitively know and do not take it as literal advice. And if you do happen to resonate with this reading, then please let us all know by liking, subscribing, and perhaps leaving a comment, letting us know how you resonate with it. And if you're interested in the extended reading, be sure to check out the Discord. Extended readings are free for the first 100 members who sign up for it. And after that, it'll be available through a monthly subscription. Okay, so I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing each of the elements. And the first element is spirit, which is represented by the bell. So what we have is the 10 of Wands. Okay, so yeah, just like the other week, it seems like we still have some things in spirit that we need to let go. Generally speaking, the 10 of Wands is a card which, we've kind of come to the ending of our gathering of knowledge, and now our knowledge and our seeking has now gotten to the point to where, it's kind of weighing us down. It's kind of holding us back a little bit. And the lesson of this card is really, to let it go at some point. We have become encumbered by the weight of our own ambitions and drives even. So Spirit is trying to tell us that, we are at a point where we need to let go, and it's quite appropriate because, this is, as I'm recording this episode, it's in the middle of December, and, of course, it's a timeless collective reading, so whenever you catch it, it's meant for you. But, perhaps at the time of this recording, we've gotten to the point to where, it's time to really reflect on what happened this year. It's time to look at all that knowledge, look at all those lessons that we've learned, look at how it's affected us, and to be able to release it going into the next year. Let's see, the year of 2025 is the year of the wood snake, and we're definitely shedding our skin. A lot of us has shedded our skin. A lot of people came out of the woodwork who presented their true colors, and a lot of those people probably aren't in our lives anymore. But the more that we hold on to the energy of the past, the harder it's going to be going into the future, especially next year when we go into, I believe it's the fire horse year. So, there's a lot of energy coming in. There is a lot of opportunities available to us if we can appropriately let go of the burden of this 10 of Wands. Okay, so let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. So the astrology die can represent advice or likely outcome. And we have the moon in Gemini in the first house. All right. So I roll once for the house, and I roll a second time for the decan. All right. So we are in the first decan of Gemini. Okay. Let me move this over. Okay. So that first decan of Gemini it has to deal with a lot of restriction. It has to deal with limiting ourselves. It's the Lord of Shortened Force. And so what we have is a lot of this restriction, and with it being in the first house, the house of Aries, it and the house of our personality and our outward persona, it means that we have really suppressed a lot of what we needed to communicate, especially with that moon influencing it too. We've suppressed a lot of those hidden emotions, a lot of those. It could even be like hidden desires and hidden drives. And so when we have a tendency to not step into our authentic selves, especially with ourselves, it could definitely create a lot of that emotional baggage that we have a habit of carrying around. And we, over time, have a tendency to place our own restrictions upon ourselves. So we're being restricted not only by this first decan of Gemini energy, but also by that Ten of Wands energy. So it's a lot of stuff to let go from this year, or whenever you happen to read this. That seems to be the overriding theme. Let's go on to the next element to bring things into focus a little bit more. So the next element is fire, which is represented by the wand. It's our drives, ambitions, and the wand is a very directed and focused energy, just as our drives and ambitions are. All right, so let's see, love. What is influencing the element of fire? Okay, so we have the inverted Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is called the Lord of Peace Restored. And when it's inverted like this, it's calling for us to step back into action. Usually in the upright position, we're kind of at like an impasse, or we're kind of, it's a bit hard to decide. But in the inverted position, we have that call to arms. We have that call to action. And it's quite appropriate that it is with this wand element, the element of fire, because now we are being called to direct our drives and ambitions again. In spirit, here it's saying, we were so burdened, we didn't quite say what we needed to say, we didn't feel what we needed to feel, and we were encumbered by the weight of our own ambition, or the weight of our own knowledge. And now it's time to step out of that. It's time to release this burden so that we can step back into action, and we can begin to be who we need to be for ourselves, essentially. It's very difficult to have a plan when we feel weighed down by the world. It's very difficult to want to spring into action when we feel so when we're not being true to ourselves and being inauthentic with ourselves. It could really mess with us, and we can really lose our direction. So that time seems to be coming to an end, and let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Okay, so we have the moon again in Pisces in the 9th house. All right. So moon, Pisces, 9th house, and first decan of Pisces. So that is at 8 of Cups energy. Let's make this inverted. Okay, so that's that 8 of Cups energy. That is the Lord of Abandoned Success. And I think it's really interesting, because we're having sort of this Saturnian energy pop up. Saturn is the ruling planet of that 10 of Wands, and Saturn is also the ruling planet of that 8 of Cups energy. And generally, when the rule behind the 8 of Cups in that particular situation is, it's not it's not necessarily that, we're abandoning success. It's that Saturn is coming in and pretty much laying waste to sort of half-hearted plans and half-hearted attempts. And especially mixed in with that Sagittarius energy of the 9th house, it could have been that throughout many times throughout this year, there were things that we wanted to get started. There were things that that we wanted to do, but those we didn't quite have the plans that we needed to have to be able to spring into action. And what all of this is suggesting is, especially with the element of fire, is that to regain our drives and ambitions, we need to really know what we're doing. We need to really have that plan. We need to really think things well in advance, plan it out in advance, think it through, and really know what we want, especially designated by the moon right there. So the expansion will be through the careful planning. The expansion will be through really knowing ourselves, and especially as we begin to, again, the moon is here in this Gemini energy, as we really begin to know ourselves and really begin to search our own feelings and emotions, and maybe perhaps our hidden drives, desires, and ambitions, then we could spring more into action. Let's see. Yeah, we even have, the message is so clear between this that we even have a trine which is formed right now. A trine between spirit and fire. So the message between those two elements is actually amplified. And I would say that the common denominator between those two is the moon, and it's also Saturn. I forgot, the moon also influences the Two of Swords. So there's a lot of lunar energy, a lot of really examining our own internal structures and feelings, to really begin to spring into action and to release the burdens of the Ten of Wands, release the burdens of the past. And yeah, basically proceed into the new year with a lot of renewed confidence. Okay, let's move right along to the next element, the element of air, which is represented by the swords. So the swords can represent our knowledge, our communication, those types of things. Intellectual pursuits and endeavors. All right, what is influencing? Okay, air. So air is being influenced by the Two of Cups. Now, a lot of times the Two of Cups could suggest a new romance. With this particular reading, it doesn't seem that way quite yet because of how the other elements are. So it could also suggest perhaps the birth of a new project as well. Perhaps a newfound love for something which we are pursuing. The element of air is our intellectual pursuits. Maybe we'll be picking up a new hobby. Of course, with it also influencing communication, it could very well be that what will be kicking this off is maybe a new love interest, although not necessarily. Some people could resonate with it. Some people could resonate with a newfound love in something else. But generally speaking, some type of newfound love, some type of beginning of a situation in which our heart chakras start to open up, which we find that joy again to really express what we love and treasure. Okay, what do the astrology die have to say to that? That'll probably clarify it a little bit better for us. Okay, so we have the Sun in Gemini in the 5th house. All right. Oops. Let's put that back. And okay, Sun in Gemini, 5th house. And let's roll again. Okay, so we're in the 3rd decan of Gemini, which is the Lord of Ruin, and it's that 10 of Swords energy, and as horrible as that name sounds, it's actually quite a good thing to get, because that 10 of Swords energy is all about starting over and rebuilding, and that would actually make a lot of sense, because we have this 2 of Cups energy as well, which is influencing the element of air. So the only way to start something new is that something else has to end. And with that being in the 5th house, the house of Leo, it could suggest perhaps, it could suggest that we are seeking a new identity for ourselves. The sun is there, and Leo is also ruled by the sun. So we have a lot of this solar energy coming in, a lot of individual expression, and a lot of really stepping into who we need to be for ourselves. So yeah, this is actually starting to suggest more of a love with ourselves, of rediscovering ourselves, rediscovering who we need to be for ourselves, and being able to effectively communicate that. If we look at this Gemini energy, well, what was happening in spirit? What was happening in spirit? We weren't able to effectively communicate what we needed to do. We were restricted. It's the Lord of Short and Force. So here in spirit, we had all this energy which was burdening us and hindering our communication, dealing with our personality. And now here in air, it is saying to pretty much remember who we are, and really re-embrace those qualities that make us unique and special, that make us the qualities that make life worth living. Being able to this could be maybe also a reestablishment of boundaries as well, because we could have been losing ourselves in so much of this burden. And so yeah, we really have, it's really a nice way of saying that whatever these burdens are, they're coming to an end, and now it is time to truly embrace who we are, and also to step into action with that inverted 2 of Swords energy as well. Okay, let's see, what else can we glean from this? This almost formed a trine with all of this. It's slightly off, but it doesn't mean that the energies are any less important. Okay, let's move along to Pentacles, which is the element of Earth. All right, so the Pentacles can represent our spiritual wealth, material wealth, really about creating those strong foundations that we need to be able to create the stability to live our life the way that we need to live. So what's happening in Pentacles, love? Okay. So we have the inverted 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, that definitely can suggest that we could be feeling overwhelmed. The 2 of Pentacles in its upright position generally suggests, trying to balance a lot of things. And so when it's inverted, it could be that we feel overwhelmed, that we just can't balance things right now. Perhaps there's a lot of chaos happening in the material world. Perhaps, this could even be something like, maybe we recently got laid off or fired or something. Or perhaps maybe some kind of unexpected financial hit that we didn't expect to take. On a spiritual level, it could suggest, it could suggest perhaps a bit of a spiritual crisis too, especially with it combined with that element of earth. We're feeling the foundations of our existence begin to crumble, and we don't quite know how to handle that. And yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense, especially leading to this whole sort of rebirth into who we are. A lot of times when the rug gets pulled from us, we have to figure out really quick what we got to do and where we got to go, because life waits for no one. So let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Okay, here we go. So we have Mars in Leo in the 12th house. All right. Yeah, there's a... Here, let's move this. These die just want to go everywhere today. Okay. Mars in Leo in the 12th house. Let's see what we got. What is the deck in? Okay. The good news is we have the middle decan of Leo, which is the Lord of Victory. So whatever is happening, we will come out victorious. We will come out triumphant. Okay, so that 12th house energy, it can mean a lot of things. In this particular case, I would say it has to do more with the reckoning aspects of the 12th house. There is something we can't avoid anymore, and that is why the ground is being pulled out from underneath us. That's why things are just changing so much, because now's the time to really face everything that we have not faced, especially on the material plane. And with that Mars in Leo energy, there's a lot of fire in that. So, even though things may feel like it's going chaotic and everything is just falling apart, we are really channeling that King of Wands energy in Leo, and we are really challenging channeling the warrior spirit as denoted by Mars. And again, in that Pisces energy, in that 12th house energy, excuse me, it's sort of like we're at a do or die time in the material plane. Excuse me. We're at a point where we can't run from this anymore. Whatever it may be. And that makes a lot of sense, especially with all this energy and spirit. And of course with the Two of Swords energy calling us back into action, and also with this Two of Cups energy telling us to sort of rediscover who we are. It's really time for us to embrace those challenges and to really dig deep within ourselves to be able to go forward with this. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we also have... Oh, not quite. We almost had a square form in between that, but it's just 1 degree off. But again, it's almost a square there. So yeah, it would kind of suggest that that there is a lot of conflict between. Well, the ground is falling out from underneath us, and we're supposed to be placed into action. But exactly what do we do? But I would suggest that, going back to this energy of air, rediscovering who we are, especially with that sun energy there, that will give us everything that we need to know. It's really reclaiming our individuality so that we can understand exactly where to go and where to direct ourselves. Let's let's move along to the last element, and that is the element of water, which is represented by the cups. So water represents our intuition and emotions. And let's see, what do we have influencing the element of water? Okay. Inverted Empress. Okay, so yeah, there is, on an emotional level, there could be something holding us back. The Empress is really about that abundance and that fertility and sort of claiming our creativity. But something here, either our intuition or our emotions are telling us, well, it's kind of a lack thereof, because we're feeling blocked in that sense. Here, let me get these cards out of the way. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it almost feels like, because we have the chaos of the pentacle energy here, and the oppression of the energy of spirit, it's causing us to sort of doubt our intuition, doubt our emotions. But really, the challenge through all that is to be able to acknowledge it on an even deeper level when life challenges us with that. Like I said, this is especially in the element of earth, that's sort of that do or die moment with that 12th house energy. It's the reckoning. And under such extreme circumstances, we could possibly have, a lot of these things which are affecting us, which puts us in emotional turmoil. But again, let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Let's get some clarification on this. Okay, so we have Saturn in Pisces in the 6th house. Okay. All right, that's a little bit more of a revelation there. Saturn Pisces, let's re-roll for the decan. All right, 8. Okay, so we have that middle decan of Pisces. That's actually the Lord of material happiness, as denoted by, or as influenced by Jupiter. So yeah, and then of course with that Virgo energy thrown in there, and that 7th house energy, sixth house energy. Yeah, it could definitely suggest that a lot of the emotional unfulfillment is because perhaps we are being a little bit too perfectionistic. We are being a little bit too isolated. The 6th house, Virgo, is also represented by the Hermit, and yeah, it feels as though we've been in isolation for so long that it's kind of become detrimental on some of these other things. And that would make a lot of sense, because here we have the material world, which is feeling overwhelmed right now, and then here we have spirit telling us that we've been very restricted and we've been very burdened by a lot of things. And so on an emotional level, on an intuitive level, this would suggest that we have a huge reservoir of abundance just waiting for us to use. It's at our disposal, except because of this sort of inaction, we've been too isolated. And everything has a time and place. Isolation is a great time to be able to rest and reflect. It's a great time to be able to hone our skills. But at some point, we need to step back into action. And so that's why we have this inverted Empress, is that, we have that delay in that sort of emotional abundance. We have that delay in being able to trust our intuition because we haven't put it into practice. And that would also kind of explain why Saturn's influencing that as well, because what is Saturn about? It's all about practicality. It's all about taking care of the day-to-day tasks. So this would suggest that we've even though we've been great in sort of honing and developing our skills, now's the time to spring back into action. I mean, it's no coincidence that we have the inverted Two of Swords right there. Now's the time to go back into, let's say, the public eye, or to go back and face people again and learn who we are, as denoted by this sort of Two of Cups energy coming in as well. Communicate that energy again. Communicate this new version of ourselves. Communicate that sort of, all those lessons we've learned, so that we could essentially fall in love with ourselves again. We can look ourselves in the mirror at the end of the day and say, you know what, I did a good job, and I did everything that I could, and I'm satisfied with who I am. That's really what this is all suggesting. So yeah, there's I would say, let's see what else we have. Okay. Yeah. We also have an opposition right there between Pentacles and water. And that would also make a lot of sense too. In this particular case, so sometimes oppositions could mean those opposing forces, but and it could kind of be a destructive way to interpret it. But in this particular case, I see the opposition as being more kind of one and the same, because they're both intrinsically connected to one another. Our inaction is also leading to the crumbling of our material plane as well. And that crumbling of the material plane is also causing us to doubt the reservoir and wealth of emotions, and the wealth of wisdom that we do have within our own intuition and within our own emotions. So it's kind of like these two elements are stuck in a feedback loop, and it's recognizing that feedback loop which helps us to really kind of break free of that. Let's see, how can we break free of that? Well, I would say it would be focusing on this trine. So as we focus on the beneficial aspects of this trine, we'll be able to reduce the more negative aspects of that opposition. So with that trine, it was about stepping back into action and releasing the burdens of what we've been feeling in spirit, and the restriction of what we've been feeling in spirit. And of course, when all of those can be released, and we spring back into action, and we begin to trust our emotions, and we see I'm a bit at a loss for words. When we see the downward spiral of the material plane stop, that also feeds into us being able to rediscover our own sovereign individuality and be able to communicate better with the element of air. So, okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Alright, I think that's about it for today. I'm going to be taking this over to the extended reading. So, yeah, again, join the Discord if you're interested in it. It is free for the first 100 members. And if you happen to resonate with today's reading, then feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and let us all know how you resonated with this reading. So thanks again for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry reading, and may Hecate illuminate your path and guide you at the crossroads.